Most food and beverage brands price the same way. Costs plus margin equals $5.99. 3 months later, you're moving volume but barely breaking even. Competitors charging more are thriving. So today, we're breaking down 5 pricing tests every food and beverage brand should run, plus a bonus test that converts browsers into buyers. Here's what makes F&B pricing brutal. Your customers are price sensitive and willing to pay premium prices. Sounds contradictory? It is. 70% of consumers have shifted to cheaper private label brands. 84% changed their shopping habits because of price increases. But at the same time, the super premium segment grew from 72% to 76% dollar share, while mainstream and value segments declined. The translation? Consumers are trading down in some categories and trading up in others. The brands winning are the ones that clearly justify their price. Health benefits, sustainability, quality, convenience. Liquid Death sells water at 3 times normal pricing. Olipop charges premium prices for functional soda. Magic Spoon launched high-priced cereal and scaled. They're not cheaper, they're better positioned. And positioning only works when your price reinforces it. But here's the problem most F&B brands face. Most food brands use one of 3 pricing strategies, and all 3 have fatal flaws. Cost plus pricing. Add your costs, multiply by margin, done. The problem? It ignores what customers will actually pay. You might need 50% margin to scale, but cost plus doesn't tell you if the market supports it. Next, competitive pricing. Match what competitors charge. The problem is you're locked in a race to the bottom. 42% of food and beverage executives say retailers push back aggressively on price increases. So competitive pricing often means accepting compressed margins. And then you have value-based pricing. Charge based on perceived value. It sounds smart, except perceived value breaks down the moment your customer doesn't understand or trust your benefits. If they can't justify the premium at checkout, they're not going to pay it. Here's the reality. None of these models account for what actually drives F&B profitability. Food and beverage isn't about first-order economics. It's about lifetime value. Your customer buys coffee. It runs out. They reorder. Protein powder gets used. They buy again. Snacks get eaten. They come back. This changes everything. A customer acquired at $8.99 who subscribes at $7.49 a month is worth dramatically more than a one-time buyer at $9.99. Food and beverage has a 6% average conversion rate, higher than fashion, beauty, and home goods. Why? Because visitors aren't browsing, they're evaluating. They're deciding if they want to try your product. They're just deciding if the price is worth it. 37% of consumers want a food or drink subscription. The subscription economy is worth $560 billion and growing at 13% annually. This is why F&B brands can't just optimize for conversion rate. You need to optimize for customer lifetime value. And the only way to do that is through systematic testing. But most brands test wrong. So here's what doesn't work. Changing live prices, duplicating products, or running time-based tests. Shoppers see different prices across your site. Analytics break, support gets flooded, but here's what does work. Controlled price tests, where one variable changes and everything else stays constant. Split traffic evenly. 50% see the control price, 50% see the variant price. Have a test duration of a minimum of 2 weeks. Food products have weekly purchase patterns. Shorter tests miss the full picture. Consistent pricing across product page, cart, and checkout. Inconsistency kills trust, and you need to account for stockouts. Scarcity overrides price sensitivity. If inventory drops mid-test, your data becomes useless. Most brands can't execute this manually without operational chaos, and that's where Shogun comes in. Shogun's price testing feature solves the operational problem. Instead of editing live product prices, it stores test prices separately from Shopify's product data. Shoppers see consistent pricing everywhere. No confusion, no broken analytics. To run a test, Shogun duplicates your theme in the background and applies pricing logic there. Your live storefront stays untouched. You approve the setup before launch. Once approved, future tests run faster. Only one price test at a time, which protects data integrity. For F&B brands, this means you can test small price increases without risking your catalog, subscription versus one-time pricing to maximize LTV, bundle pricing to increase AOV, and new product launch prices without guessing, all while measuring the metrics that actually matter: revenue per visitor, profit per visitor, subscription adoption rate, and customer lifetime value by pricing cohort. Now here's what you actually test. Here are the 5 pricing tests F&B brands should run, plus that bonus at the end. Test number 1, small price increments. Don't test dramatic jumps. Test $5.99 versus $6.49, not $5.99 versus $8.99. You're looking for the edge of price sensitivity, the exact point where demand starts to drop. A 5 to 15% increase often reveals elasticity without shocking customers. Sometimes a small increase decreases conversion by 8%, but increases profit per bottle by 22%. And that's a win. Test small. Measure profit per visitor, not just conversion rate. Test number 2, subscribe and save pricing. Test subscription discount depth. 5% versus 10% versus 15% off. Deeper isn't always better. Sometimes a 10% discount with better branding like VIP member pricing converts better than a generic 15% off. Also test when you offer a subscription. First purchase versus second purchase. Getting customers to subscribe after they've tried and liked your product often works better than pushing subscriptions up front. The goal isn't just conversion, it's LTV. Track 30-day, 60-day, and 90-day retention by pricing cohort. Customers acquired at different price points often have different retention rates. Test number 3, free shipping thresholds. Shipping cost remains a top abandonment reason for food purchases. Test $35 versus $45 versus $50 minimum for free shipping. Many brands find $45 hits the sweet spot, high enough to increase AOV, but low enough to feel attainable. Don't guess, test it. Stellar Eats displays free shipping thresholds prominently, with a one-page checkout to reduce friction. It works. Test number 4, multi-pack pricing. Test a single jar at $9.99 versus a 3-pack at $26.99 versus a 6-pack at $49.99. Multi-packs increase basket size, reduce shipping cost per unit, and create stickier customers. If someone buys 6 jars, they're committed to using your product. They're not switching to a competitor next week. Also test pack size, not just price. Sometimes a 12-ounce jar at $8.99 underperforms a 16-ounce jar at $9.99 because the per-ounce value feels better. Psychology matters as much as math. Test number 5, promotional framing. Test percentage off versus dollar amount versus BOGO versus bundle deals. 15% off performs differently than $3 off. Same discount, different psychology. Research shows consumers perceive value differently based on how discounts are framed. For lower priced items under $20, dollar amounts often feel more tangible. For higher priced items, percentages work better. Test both. Let data decide. And a bonus test, sample pricing. Here's the test most F&B brands overlook: paid samples. Test paid samples at $3 to $5 versus free samples with shipping versus no sample option. For food brands, samples solve the trust barrier better than any copy or review. 35% of consumers who receive samples make an immediate purchase. 73% are more likely to buy after trying. Samples aren't a cost, they're an acquisition strategy. And pricing them correctly can dramatically improve conversion while filtering for higher intent buyers. Price testing kills the guesswork. You'll know what drives profit per visitor, not just what drives orders. In F&B, your price is your positioning. Get it wrong and you're either racing to the bottom or priced out of the market. Like, comment, and subscribe, and check the Shogun blog for more strategies that move revenue, not just traffic.